Kurt Coachman is joining me now, Senior Fellow in Fiscal Policy for Americans for Prosperity. Tommy Aiello is the Senior Director of Government Affairs at the National Taxpayers Union. Tommy, let me start with you if I can. We know that we produce oil here in such a big way due to the Drill Baby Drill initiative by President Trump. But there's a lot of focus on the Strait of Hormuz and so the oil that's able to, or rather not able, to make it through that narrow passageway, if you will. But talk to us about the option of releasing the strategic reserves yet again. Is that a move that will be necessary? Because we've seen gas prices now, it's $3.54 a gallon. Whatever element we can pop on the screen will show to you. Gas prices went from, thank you, it went from $2.99 to $3.54. Bottom line, prices need to come down because now you're going to have a lot of upset Americans here. They're not going to be happy with what's happening in Iran. Do they release some of the strategic reserves?
Well, good morning. Thanks for having me. Let's remember that if the president were to release the stockpiles from the oil reserves, it'll take about 2 to 3 weeks for that oil to reach the market in order to get refined. That's a very long time. Yeah. We think the best course of action is to settle this conflict, make sure the Strait of Hormuz gets open. 20% of all the world's oil travels through that strait. And let's remember, oil is a globally traded commodity. A disruption anywhere will lead to price increases everywhere. The best thing to do right now is end the conflict, make sure American drilling continues, and that will lead to lower prices across the board.
Looking at some of those indicators here, Brent oil, Brent crude is above $90 a gallon, or rather a barrel, excuse me. Also watching WTI, I think that's in the 80 range. But yesterday we saw a major shift. It was above 110, right around there, to 120 a barrel, and then it took a dive. Kurt, can you look back and maybe explain what we saw there, and will we see the same today?
Absolutely. So markets hate uncertainty, and this conflict is producing a lot of that. There were a lot stronger concerns yesterday when the prices were peaking than when President Trump came in and reassured markets. So as your correspondent mentioned, the markets do react, and they're always trying to figure out that price, which is a relationship between supply and demand of energy. But ultimately, America has to produce more energy. We've done a lot. We've got to do more. Congress has to do more, and the states can do more as well.
Yeah, we talked about this, too, the G7 meeting yesterday, and then now I believe the energy leaders of those G7 nations, they're also going to be talking about the conversation here, because lowering gas prices is a big issue. What can they do, these energy leaders? Our energy leader, if you will, Energy Secretary Chris Wright sat down with Jake Tapper to give his prediction on how long the energy crisis, if you will last. Here is the Energy Secretary's answer.
But you're right. We want it back below $3 a gallon, and it will be again before too long.
Well, what do you mean by too long? How much longer?
Look, you never know exactly the time frame of this, but in the worst case, this is a week's. This is not a month's thing.
Tommy, your thoughts there? I mean, that's pretty basic, right? The Americans want to see their gas prices back to around $2 a gallon, and here we are above $3.50.
Well, I'm looking at the oil futures markets right now. They're predicting, oil traders, that the price per barrel of oil is going to drop about $20 by July. So I think markets are pricing in that this is going to be a short-term conflict, not a months to years-long conflict of the past. And one thing to also keep in mind is tax refunds are starting to go out right now. Tax refunds are up 11% compared to last year, thanks to the president's tax cuts. That's more money in Americans' pockets. That's more money to help them shoulder some of the higher burden of gas prices.
We appreciate the time. Couchman, Tommy Aiello, thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.